Hello again. I'm Prem Sangeet. We're tuning back in live from I'm Creating Summit here in Sanur, Bali. Um, and I've been meeting a lot of amazing people, and one that I met that's very passionate about the breathwork and cold plunge and the cold exposure is
Mm,
Alex
mm,
from Breathing Cold.
mm.
Is that right?
All good, Prem. All
All
good.
good. Thank you so much,
Really.
Alex, for
Thank you,
coming
brother.
in. Yeah, you've been OG original
Mm.
in Bali. We've been here for what 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing amazing programs for facilitators.
Mm.
So you've been training facilitators how to
Mm.
provide breathwork, and I always say like, breathwork is such a superpower. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't believe me, try not breathing,
Yes,
and
yes.
you'll see
Good
what
one.
happens.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us more about breathing cold.
So I come from having a lot of traumas and a lot of anxiety, not being in my body for most of my life, not having cried for all of my life. And I experienced firsthand the power of breath work. And in that moment when I experienced it, I felt if a guy like me can experience that, then really it's for everybody. So after that, I went on a journey of understanding how the breath works, and then other modalities like movement, fascia, where are traumas,
Hmm.
and then understanding my personality through the lens of trauma. And then through my own journey, I start connecting with people, and I love understanding, and I'm very curious about people.
Hmm.
And today I guided more than 7,000 people on
Wow.
journeys to reconnect to their authentic self, to shed layers of conditioning and beliefs, and just live an authentic life where you accept all your parts. So I'm not so much about getting people to be happy or but just to accept themselves, to be okay with the shameful parts. Like, I am generous, but I'm also stingy. I'm a really nice guy, but I'm also an asshole. It's not like there is such somehow in the society a dictate like need to be generous and you need to be kind and you do. I am not always kind. I'm not always generous, and I'm all of that, and I accept those parts. So it's very much a journey of self acceptance of
Hmm.
and authenticity, and not and dropping the masks and being fully raw. And when I do that, I give permission to people around me to do the same. And through full embodiment of authenticity, I really believe we can create a safer world because people can just relax and be authentic and feel seen and heard and appreciated for who they truly are and not for their role in the world. So it's I'm very happy and very proud of what I do.
Amazing. I'm proud of you too. And then, well, 7,000 people. And you speak of this currency, which is authenticity, which is becoming more and more important as we live in the day and age of AI and then clones and fake videos. And then so it takes so much less energy when we don't have to pretend
Mm,
and put on masks and just connect with deeper create deeper connections with people and the community and being seen as we truly are. It's just like a lot of potential actually comes comes from that state. So that's amazing. And you also mentioned something very interesting, which is the stressors that we go through life. You call them
mm,
traumas. Is they're stored somewhere in what they call muscle memory. But you mentioned fascia, which a lot of science is
mm,
still like fascia is movable, but it's actually more than just
mm,
the wrap of the muscle,
mm.
right? And it's actually where a lot of these stressors are held.
Yeah.
And then we had Gary here at the I'm Creation Summit from Human
Mm,
Garage. He's OG of
mm,
fascia maneuvers
maneuvers.
and things. Um, and that brings me to other topics, other modalities that how we can support that muscle memory, that fascia movement with stretches, what Gary does at Human Garage, and what you also do, combining the cold exposure, the other stressors that are releasing the inflammation in the body. You mentioned shame, one of the most inflammatory um, emotions
Emotion.
that causes so many things. And when you look at it, today's medicine is like they're just giving the solutions to not scale this, but they don't attract and target the source,
Mm,
which is that
mm,
not of being accepted or shamed of something. But you did this very interesting equation, which I really love, where you combine the breath work with the cold exposure.
Mhm.
So I know you're an expert in cold plunge, and cold plunges are being everywhere. Ice baths and cold plunge are now being really, really popular. So I'm curious to learn from you what's your science behind it? What's your finding after
Mm.
doing cold exposure for so long?
Well, you shared a lot. Thank you. I feel seen already with all you
Yeah.
shared. So first, I just want to come back, and you mentioned that it's the era of AI,
Right.
and it's scaring a lot of people because
Mhm.
they feel, well, who needs me if I'm a lawyer, if I'm an architect, if I'm so many people are scared now of how AI is creating a revolution in the world. I do believe, I'm sure you share that the universe is really working for us. And
Mm.
if we are
Always.
being told by the universe that basically things from the mind are being less relevant, it's probably an indication that now the direction is to genuinely go through the heart. And when you are working in the matter of the heart, you are going to the essence of what makes a human, and that cannot be replaced. So I'm actually very excited for the whole
Hmm.
AI revolution
Hmm.
because it brings us back to what is essential, which is the reconnecting to the heart.
That's that authenticity as a currency, being really connected to people, where AI does agents does all the work, the
Yeah,
labor that we don't actually require to do as human beings.
100%. And you mentioned this idea of, emotions being trapped in the body,
Hmm.
and stress and anxiety. Well, for me, the definition of anxiety is departure from the self. When you're fully in
Mm.
alignment, when you speak your truth, you're fully authentic, there is no space for anxiety. So instead of reducing stress, which was what people are trying to do, for me, I found over the years, you ask me, that the secret is to change your relationship with stress, to
Hmm.
use ice baths, who's mentioned it, or breath hold. They are stressors. They are conscious stressing practices, so that when stress comes in my life, it's something that becomes all of a sudden familiar. So I'm no longer about trying
So we
to.
build that resilience to
Yes,
stressors,
and
right?
also I can. There is something about post-traumatic growth. So many people share, oh, I went through this traumatic situation, cancer, someone died in my family, and 15 years later, I can reflect by says, and I don't wish this to anybody, but it's the best thing that happened to me. It was my awakening moment.
So it
So
was your lessons that you learned through
most
those,
people
right?
most people they go through something really hard to wake
Hmm.
up until, okay, no, I need to make a radical change in my
Hmm.
life. But it's that radical idea that life is working for me, and then whatever comes my way in forms of resistance, of stress, of conflict, or I can really receive it with softness and say, oh, what if this temporary challenge is happening for me? And it's definitely what's happening in an ice bath. You go in
Hmm.
there, you have like really like a panic attack reaction, like
Oh, it's a
overwhelming
flight or
reaction,
fight. You just
fight,
want
fight,
to get it out.
bam,
It's such a stress, right?
and you feel so good after,
Uh-huh.
right? And you feel this expansion. And I love, you mentioned Gary and human and fascia work, but when you come out of an ice bath, you and everybody who's been cold, they know, like we shiver, right?
We
We get
shake,
cold
yeah.
and we shake and we shiver, and we can't control the shivers. So what is the shivers? Is a full release of the fascia system.
Mm.
And now all of a sudden you want to encourage them. So if you see me in a context of a spa and you see me in an ice bath, first of all, I will get in and I will scream, and then
Uh-huh. Release,
I
right?
will release, and then I will start shaking,
Hmm.
and then people will come to me and they will give me some tips to stop shaking. And why am I being loud? So people are shocked because I look like a beginner, but actually I'm very advanced. Means I know that I want to get out of the
You're
way,
getting
get out of
benefits, most of
control,
benefits
and
from
I'm
it.
getting a full body release. And I come out of the ice bath, I'm completely relaxed.
That's interesting that you mentioned, polar bears are one of these experiments that they did with polar bears. Is like they obviously live in the cold, they swim in the cold plunge every day. And when they get stressed, they go into this, like, what's called fight or flight, or beyond that, it's a freeze, right? So what they do, they go to sleep, and then they wake up, they just shake a lot.
Every
And
animal.
these animals are, it's in their innate primal instinct, it's just like autonomic for them. And we as humans, we're, I think, the only species who hold on to and get attached to these emotions and things. But you're saying that whatever comes from you when you go into that bath, you just want to scream it out, you want to shake it off. Is there something that might
Yeah.
help with the breathing techniques, that when
You,
people come
you,
in, is like deeper breaths, more inhales or more exhales? What would you recommend?
I love this talk, man. You bring so many good things.
Hmm.
We are humans, we are the same like we are animals, but just the mind comes in the way. But we go dancing when we need to get drunk to release. We go to, we take drugs and we go into a rave party and we feel so good after a rave party for 3 days. Or we go into Zumba, or we run for 20 or 30 kilometers. So somehow we know that we need to release in the body, but we do it unconsciously. So, oh my God, I needed sex. And some people haven't had sex. And oh, I needed that. Why? Because you've been holding on to those tensions for so long.
Hmm.
And finally you release. But if we do it consciously, through shaking, through screaming, through releasing the energy in the body, then we don't need to wait to this point where, oh my God, now all of a sudden I have to. This whole idea of exercising the way we do it is completely unnatural. Going to the gym is unnatural. We used to move, we used to go and do the garden
You
and
used to
walk
be
around.
hunter
And,
gatherers, yeah,
and,
or just
and,
run
and
in the
that's the,
wild.
we want to go back
Yeah.
to that
Hmm.
natural state. So you ask me how to breathe in the eyes. I want
Hmm.
to answer.
Please.
I say get out of the way first because
Hmm.
we are good at being in control. So please, I beg you, when you go into an ice bath, don't try to control. Enjoy and use the ice to be taken, to be put down and release and scream and cry
Hmm.
and laugh. Let it out. I use the ice bath every time I'm triggered. Something's going on in my life and I feel, oh, there is a
Sure.
tension. I go in the ice and it goes out. Some people that will punch a pillow or go on the back.
Hmm.
For me, the ice bath, I love it. I tell you why, because I call it forced mindfulness. It
Hmm.
just works. It takes me on. But then I down regulate and I usually do a few round of box breathing.
So that's four. So you breathe in for four, hold for four,
Or
exhale for
at
four,
the
and hold for
beginning,
four.
you in for one, exhale for one. So
Yeah.
it's just focusing on the breath. You can do physiological side,
Yeah.
double inhale, relax, exhale. You can prolong your. I mean, in general, anything that is going to be prolonging the exhale will be relaxing. The more you focus on the nose versus the mouth, will be relaxing. If you're in an ice bath, you're going to breathe something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that is the opposite of that will get you to down
So
regulate.
down regulate the nervous system. So what happens is like instead of breathing probably what is like between around 10 breaths per minute, what we do, we down regulate to four breaths a minute by being four, 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 and then we're able to down regulate ourselves. So we allow
Man,
these to move.
but like now there is a lot of science around the ice that's coming out. I tell you my recommendation for anyone who's interested in that, go for a cold bath instead of an ice bath. So go for
Hmm.
10, 15 degree instead of 2 degree. When I go to a 15, 12 to 15 degree, I can stay for 15 minutes
Hmm.
without a problem. You the same. It's not so hard, but still it's cold enough for my brain to be focused on surviving. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to be thinking of the future of the past. I call it a forced meditation.
Forced presence.
I am forced into present for 15 minutes. If you're a meditator, you know how hard it is to have 50, even 1 minute of your
Hmm.
presence.
So you're
So,
saying don't do cold plunges; they're very cold, but do like somewhere in between. So when I usually go to the places and spas that have, let's say, 4 degrees or 8 degrees,
uh-huh.
I would go to 4 or to 8, but I would stay maybe 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, depends on the stressors, right? And I heard that there's science, there's like not much more benefit going over
one
10
minute.
minutes. Yeah, 1 minute is
I
sometimes
mean,
just enough.
the real answer is the following: it's very individual, everybody's different. So it's not so much about a specific time, it's when you get to the stage where you don't need when you don't want to get out. If you feel, oh my God, I'm staying but I want to get out, you need to stay. The moment you relax and down and regulate and say, you know what, I think I could stay longer, time to go. So it's not, I really urge people, that's really worked for me. I stop measuring. I don't have an Oura ring anymore. I don't
Hmm.
track anything anymore.
Mm.
I live in the flow and I learn to trust my body. So when I go into an ice bath, some days after 30 seconds, I'm done. This is not the right day for me. My nervous system is
Yeah.
overactivated. I get out and it's not working for me. Other days I can spend, I did a 1 hour in a 0 degree bath, so I can. So
Wow.
so it's, we, every day is different and you are different, and the more we can be in our bodies and listening to our bodies through those moments of stressors, then we can apply it when we're in connection. Do I want more of this person in my life? Do I want to go into business with this person? Is
Hmm.
this food good for me? You develop intuition.
So intuition is something that you feel like wearing variables like smart rings and auras and things. it allows you to look at the metrics so you can learn to have this intuition settings and
Let go of control.
let go
I'm
of the
saying let go
control,
of control.
right?
What we need is not more control. We need less control.
Less control. And it's on the individual level. Like I feel like future of medicine and functional health is about hyper personalization that we can achieve
For certain things,
with the
for sure.
biomarkers and then
Of
variables
course.
like this and more prescribed, personally prescribed times and temperatures in the cold
Of course.
for the and it also depends on so many aspects. Environment probably affects 75% of
But you're
us.
also having a human experience, and that
Exactly.
is the best part, where you are letting your heart guide you, and you let your heart make the decisions in your life.
Beautiful decisions. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for doing what you do.
Mm.
Lastly, tell our audience where can they find you, where they can learn more about breathwork and cold exposures, and how they, if they want to potentially become facilitators of your methods and
Mm.
your methodologies and modalities, where can they find you, the
Mm.
breathing cold and things? Maybe you can share some social media
Yeah,
handles
yeah,
and
yeah.
links.
Thank you. And I offer a lot of free material, so a
Amazing.
lot of free content on YouTube, Breathing Cold, breathingcoldbali.com, breathing underscore cold on Instagram. And you can reach out to me. I always like to help people. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more to come from I'm
Mm.
Creation Summit and keep breathing.